Hey there, welcome to a special FMC Arena Tuesday night edition. Um, we the gentleman that I'm about to bring on contacted me wanting to be on FMC Arena, but his campaign closes in just a little bit, and by the time I could get him on a Thursday, it would already been closed, and so we tried to give people a boost while they're still campaigning. And so I made the choice to add an additional FMC arena. And I will be doing one Thursday night, but this is about skylights. And let me bring the Mr. Keith Morange on right quick. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this
Did I
special.
mispronounce that? Is it Morange or
No, you
Morange?
you you nailed
No,
it.
I
Orange.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, Morange. Okay,
Yeah.
it looked a little French, so I went with the French pronunciation. So,
It is. It
uh,
is actually. Yeah.
yeah, if I was gonna go southern, it'd be Morange. There you go. But
Orange. Yeah.
so I just went for Morange. I'm sure you've gotten plenty of interesting pronunciations over the years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Every merengue.
Merengue. Oh,
Uh,
okay. Well, there
yeah.
you go. I guess it kind of looks like merengue a little bit, but
All
anyway.
kinds.
Yeah. Anyway. So welcome to the show. I've been seeing this on FMC. Surprised you're closing out so fast. I think this has only been FMC for a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, 30 days.
30
Yeah,
days.
and
Okay.
then 30 days originally on Indiegogo, and on the
Mm-hmm.
last day it was I was posting that it's the
Yeah.
last day. I had a bunch of requests to throw it up on
FMC.
Fund My
Yeah.
Comic. Yeah.
Have you had a
And
good experience so far on FMC? Pretty good.
I I have. I mean, though my numbers are pretty low, it is an introductory book, but
Right.
I actually really love the site because it's so geared to comics, and
Yep.
there were so many just um welcoming things that were, I mean, teaming with Bleeding Cool and or
Right.
Bleeding Fool and Comics Crusaders and all that. I mean, it was really just like really good.
Yeah.
It's been great.
FMC is basically an indie comic like funding site for indie comic creators by indie comic creators. So we don't have a corporate entity backing us up, so we kind of like it feels more like along the lines of we're rooting for you. We're trying to push things along. You don't. I mean, Indiegogo. According to people that I've talked to recently, you can't even get like a contact to talk to if you have an issue with the website at this point.
Mm.
Um, I think everything's going AI or and when people
Yeah.
I've heard people have all sorts of issues with that, especially since they got taken over by the other outfit that took them over a couple years ago.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, has that been your experience?
Yeah, it's been was a little different with the interface than what I
Right.
had heard it was. They changed everything, and
Yeah.
just kind of unnecessarily extra steps for things.
Mm.
For my comics simpler that way. Um, and also a strange thing that they're doing over at Indiegogo is uh, charging people shipping in a in another step, in another
Ah.
after the campaign closes,
Yeah, I've
which
heard
I
it's like similar to Kickstarter with the backer kit thing.
mm,
The Kickstarter's been doing for a long time.
yeah,
It's a little awkward to close things out.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and right, so yeah, I don't think we'll be using Indiegogo again.
there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think Back Me Bro has kind of like come up. They're trying to be what Indiegogo used to be, and
Hmm.
we wish them well.
Yeah,
People think
totally.
people think we're in conflict with them, but we're not we're rooting for everybody because
Right. Yeah.
this independent space just needs options. It's people like Kickstarter. While they have a big browse and they have the name brand, when people use Kickstarter instead of crowdfunder, crowdfunding, and
Hmm.
so they're kind of like the Coke of the industry, essentially. Uh, but the problem with them is that they've got this inconsistent, like, moderation that happens, in that they will let things go that you're going through, cycling through, and you're like, whoa, what in the world did they put on this website? And then next thing you know, they take down Private American, which is Mike Barron,
Right.
his
Yeah,
book.
I backed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look in that book, there's nothing offensive. I mean, it's certainly a lot less offensive than some of the stuff that they're blatantly letting on that website. And
Right.
so one of the things is Indiegogo. We discovered Indiegogo was starting to shadow ban. They weren't openly banning people like or kicking them off like Kickstarter. At least they didn't start that way. What they would do is suddenly your campaign was invisible on the
Mm.
on the trending tab, and that's how most people found things. And we have an engineer that works with us named Pixel Trader, and Pixel's like, well, if you're being shadow banned, I can find it. Or I can write a program right quick. He was on his way to a meeting, this just casually. He's like, okay, here you go,
That's
and he
great.
wrote this program on the spot, and sure enough, when you basically when you attach this program to a what you thought was possibly being shadow banned, it had a um,
Mm.
deboost command on it,
Mm.
and well, the problem is somebody who like we were like, see, your campaign's being deboosted, and the sucker went straight to Indiegogo's moderation. It's like, why am I being deboosted? And suddenly it disappeared. People were still being
Mm.
deboosted, but evidently they did it on the front end. Uh, but that was going on, and so our creator Luke Stone is kind of like, well, he was setting up something called a white box um, operation for um, planning to run his comic book through it.
Hmm.
White box simply means that it's a corporation that allows you to put your name on it. It's kind of like people are doing with the coffee.
Hmm.
It's like they produce the coffee and they distribute the coffee for the person, but their name's on it, and they pay for the distribution and everything.
Mm.
Um, but we were paying for boxes at a corporation. They're basically, we're paying to be hosted on their boxes, but it's our name and our everything we put to it. But we have corporate level security, and
Nice.
so um, it just worked out better than trying to host their own thing. And
Hmm.
uh, and so that's and right now we're planning on migrating over to another server that's going to be able to accommodate more of what we want to add to the website. So we're about to get even more varied in we can offer. It's going to look a
Nice.
lot like classic Indiegogo. The
Okay.
Before we're done. But that's currently going on. Um, so that's just to let people know there might be some slight slowdown.
All
You
right.
know, we're trying to get the word out about that. But so as a website, we're hoping to become the destination for indie
Hmm.
creators. Um, because right now, Kickstarter, Indiegogo are corporate backed,
Right. Right.
and so is crowdfunders, so is Zoop. Um, you
Yeah.
know, no matter what they're saying, they're corporate backed too. And
Yeah.
so
And I'm sorry. I just
Oh
want
no,
to
go ahead.
say is that as an indie creator, I think, you know, the landscape is always kind of changing and
It
shifting
is. It
throughout
is.
indie comics, just in
Mhm.
itself. And um, the options of where am I going to, crowdfund this book
Yeah.
is um, someone, because for me, I just want to be able to create what I want to, the stories I want to tell. And
Right.
without having somebody kind of moderating that, that's kind of the antithesis of
It
what
is.
indie comics is
It
supposed to be.
exactly is the antithesis. Yeah.
We're not going to a publisher, and it's not
Right.
about like publishing like obscene stories or things that are like you know uh yeah, obscene or something.
Well,
It's more about like not
yeah.
having somebody come in and say you can't do that, right?
Well, it's like Terror in the Trenches. A friend of ours named Von Kloss that has been on our website. Uh,
Hmm.
he has the Terror of the Trenches is like a World War II style
Yeah.
story, and the bad guys in World War II were certain people, and
Hmm.
uh, and he had to basically moderate the icon off of stuff to be
Yeah.
hosted at Indiegogo or Kickstarter, and
Yeah.
uh, and that's happened to several people that were trying to use those guys as the bad guys. Is that
Right.
I don't know if it's automatic moderation or what, but they would have to like, oh well, you're gonna have to cover this up, or you're gonna have to black this out, because evidently the icon itself is like traumatizing to people or something like that. You know, the
Well, it's
whole idea
history.
of moderation is just
Uh,
so bizarre.
yeah, it's history. It's part of history.
Yeah.
And that's kind of as for doing something that is pretty, um, I would say, tame,
Hmm.
like Skylights. But my next book, not so much. So
Right.
I was looking for some place that I can host where it's like, let me test it out, test the
Right.
waters, and then the next thing, am I going to be kicked off of something if I did a Kickstarter, if I did something like that?
Right.
So, yeah,
Well, we get Mike
Indiegogo wanted to,
Barron's,
yeah,
because of Private American, we get Mike Barron's first campaign every time now. Um,
yeah,
he hates those blue haired freaks is what he calls them. I love
yeah,
Mike,
yeah,
but he does a commercial on Nerd Bacon. He's like, well, if you don't want a blue haired freak, get your campaign taken down. It's like he does not play. He is way too old to play. So I love Mike.
I understand
Uh,
that. Yeah,
yep. But Skylights is that's like 200 pages worth of
yeah,
awesome. You got the art is very very unique and distinctive. There was a comic for Allegiance Comics
Allegiance
a
Art.
few. Huh,
You
what's
talking
that?
about Allegiance Art?
Allegiance Arts, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
That had very similar art. Are you familiar with it?
I know of Allegiance Arts. I know like
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah, no, everything that
Oh, okay.
happened, but they had some pretty great properties that were
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
just unfortunate.
your art kind of remind me of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
your particular artist, as he did. I was wondering if he did any work for them.
I didn't. I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't.
oh, you're the artist. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm the artist writer.
there you go.
I've done everything for Skylights. Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's how you can afford 200 pages of art.
Exactly right.
That's
But
a,
I mean, it's like broken up, right? It's like
yeah.
if you were to collect the 8 issues and put them together. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you started with floppies, 8 issues of floppies, or
I That was the original plan, and I just I did a couple tests. I tried releasing when I was drawing the first issue. I released it. Um, I was trying to do the webtoons things, didn't like
ah,
that.
right.
Um, so I pulled it from there, and it just became a matter. of how do I want people to experience this book?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't through digital means, it wasn't through chapters,
Yeah.
and it was the way I told the story, and it was just something that I wanted it to be at least readily available in the person's hand for them to read in one sitting if they wanted to,
Right.
without that interruption. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get caught up on comments over here. Nerds. Thank you, Will, being the chief nerd that you are. Anyway. All right. Levi Skeen picked this on FMC a couple days ago. Looks great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Partakis art reminds me of early Silvestri inked by D. Green or Rubenstein.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, yeah. One thing I really like about your art is is that it's kind of a little bit impressionistic in that you don't feel like you have to complete lines. You
Hmm.
kind of sometimes you just hint at a shape
Hmm.
and maybe do the hard lifting with the coloring and things like that. That's
Yeah.
very creative in that. Uh, you see a lot where you feel things are over rendered,
Yeah.
and it loses some of the energy. Do you feel like that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I'm inspired by a lot of old comics, like
Oh,
Joe Kubert and
mm-hmm.
Al Williamson, and the times that I was collecting books was early 90s.
There you go. It's a very
So
creative,
I mean,
very experimental era.
yeah, like, well, I mean, like Norm Breyfogle on Batman, and even Graham Nolan doing Nightfall with Chuck Dixon, and I mean Alan Grant's writing with
Hmm.
Norm Breyfogle. Um, just a lot of the Bat books when I was
Right.
like 13, 14, 15, and and it just started to, and then I found Dark Knight Returns like
Oh,
in the
there you
late
go.
90s,
Frank Miller. Yeah.
and that was big.
I can. Now that you said that, I've seen a lot of Dark Knight Returns, kind of like in the way you do your line work.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah,
Um,
like like the way you do the motion and things like
mm,
that. Yeah.
well, I think it's just, I mean, I think some of the easiest guys to learn from was
Hmm.
is John Buscema and Joe Kubert. And you
There you go.
look at what they were doing, especially Joe Kubert in his early Tarzan stuff when he did the
Right.
run on Tarzan, and how that was just very economical and impressionistic.
Well, I'm
Um,
hoping that he's easy to learn from. He opened a school, so
yeah, right.
right.
So I'm just really inspired by those guys, and I think a
Hmm.
lot of that just kind of that learning comes through.
Al Williamson influence makes sense as well. Yeah.
Al Williamson, yeah. I mean, I have the old Agent X9, a couple of those collections
Right.
from the scripts, and looked at a lot of those that inking. Um, but again, it's just like through repetition. Um, it is how you find your style.
Yeah.
You have to do the thing. You have to
Right.
keep drawing, and then somewhere along the lines, things start kind of clicking and coming together as a style.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just from
Yeah.
understanding.
That's one thing. That's one thing. When I talk to people that are learning to write, is it sounds a little existential when I tell them this, and sometimes they look at me like I grew a new head, but I tell them that write until it sounds like you.
Hmm.
Write until if
Hmm.
you read somebody else writing your stuff, you would know it. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's really good. That's a good way to say it.
well, it's you know, we're all trying to uncover the artifact that is the story.
Hmm.
But what makes it distinctive is how we unearth the artifact, and and how it like washes through your abilities and your skills and your experiences. How you is how the story is shaped by you. You know, the story is kind of like its own entity that you're tapping into, but it
It
has to
is.
pass through the channel of you to get to the world. And
Absolutely. You're 100% right. Spot on.
that the more you can get the story out into the world, the clearer the story. You know, it with the least amount of you as possible, the purer the story is going to be. But it's still going to have to come from you and through you, and so you're going to be tattooed on it. You know, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, it
go
really
ahead.
is that the creation, it's yours until you let it go, and then it
Right.
becomes the world. It becomes other people's, and other people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
identify with it, take it, own it, interpret it. And it's like you've done your job, and what people say about it later or how they feel about it
Mm-hmm.
is a whole other thing completely.
Yeah, it's your child, but eventually, child's got to leave the nest, and
Yeah.
eventually, it's got to stand on its own
Yeah.
feet. And I'm seeing the mainstream put out a lot of stunted, children who aren't capable of standing on their own feet. Uh,
Yeah.
they're trying to slap a name on it and saying to like oh well, if we've slapped the Star Wars brand on it, even though
Yeah.
it's a flawed, hackneyed story that is not going to appeal to everybody. As long as we have Star Wars on it, people are gonna buy it, and
Right.
they're discovering that no, what you did is you destroyed the Star Wars name
Yeah.
and by slapping it on something subpar, and and that's one thing that everything that you put out has got to just be the best that you can put out because your name's on it, you know.
Hmm.
And I especially if it's your first work, you know, that's the thing that I tell people. I was like, if it's your first thing, the
Yeah.
first thing that anybody's going to see from you, make sure it's your best thing, and because
Yeah.
that's your first impression, And if you show up for the blind date and you're wearing jammies, uh, she's probably not going to call you back. Okay, so
Yeah. It it goes back to what we were saying before, about the finding the right crowdfunding
hmm
platform. Um, it's important that, especially on the indie scene, that we don't castrate ourselves.
right,
It's important that we're not self-policing the the idea to where it loses its edge, and whatever that is to you. But
hmm
the things that are the formula that is um safe and mainstream, um uh I think is instinctually being rejected.
right,
We need stories with guts. We need stories that has some balls, that aren't going to um, pull back and be afraid to be what it is crying out to the
story
artist to
for the
be,
sake of story and not story for the sake of like
or
trying to
or,
alter
or
the
just
social
mimicking,
construct or whatever. Yeah,
and trying to be something for everyone and all that kind of thing. It's
right.
like, be you have to I don't want to be preachy, but I mean, as
Preach, my friend,
it just
preach.
you have to serve the story, right? And in an independent scene, in what we are, we have to we should be doing that. We don't need another thing where, whether it's a platform or an audience we're afraid to offend, or for
Yeah,
whatever reason, with the long list of
right.
reasons. um and I see that we're all seeing that struggle in Hollywood. We're all seeing that struggle on in the shows that are made, and all that. And what's the point of being indie if we're treating ourselves like a
Beholden
corporate
to
board?
anything, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
want to be able to um push it a little bit, and
Right.
I think that should be everyone's goal in the indie spaces right now. Whatever your
Right.
views are, we should be uh, trying to find the edge, trying to find the where we're serving the story, but also just not
Not
kicking the feet
beholden
out
to
from under
anything,
it.
but yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Uh, Hold on a minute. Star Wars is so good now. It's too good for me to even watch. That's sarcasm, by the way. That
yeah.
is definitely sarcasm. Uh, anyway, yeah. So how long have you been wanting to do Skylights? Question for you.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've been making my way into comics for uh since I was 13, so probably like a little over 30 years. But Skylights came to me in about 2018,
Mm-hmm.
which is when I ended up writing the full story. Uh and it started out as just an idea note, and then another one, and then I just kept right, and I was working on something else at the time, and it
Yeah.
just became just kind of flooding in. And when something happens like that, that's inspiration,
Maybe you're
that's
looking for something else and you find a brontosaurus bone and you're kind of like, oh, okay, something big here. I need to unearth this, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
And when a story kind of chooses you and finds you like that, and
yep.
it's all flooding in, and it's being just you can't keep up with the ideas, and you have to write it out.
It's kind of
It's a
like you were
sign.
drinking from a hose and it turns out to be a fire hose, you know.
It's like yeah, I mean, the muse has found you, and and what are you going to do? Close the
Right.
door? I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
almost like you have to respond, and that's what I did. And I
Hmm.
thought I was going to do this pretty quickly. I thought it was going to be like four, 20 something page issues, and
Right.
do it black and white in the same kind of quick manner that I would do storyboards in. And it was just something that was like I wanted to kind of dabble in, get done. But
Yeah.
as I started drawing, I started caring about it a little bit more. I started getting to know the characters a little bit more,
Yeah.
and spending more time on it, and
Yeah.
in between jobs, of course.
There you go. Hollywood is doing fine. Totally not losing billions. Right.
No,
Yep.
yeah.
Totally not. Totally not. Um, well, that's one thing about the when a story finds you,
Mm,
and it's the beautiful thing about unearthing the artifact is that you're on the journey to discover too, and you're the very first person to discover it. You're the first person through the door, or you're the first person in the labyrinth, or you're the first person to, stumble upon the hidden city, and
mhm,
so you're the first to explore it, and when you first find it, there's that moment of like, oh, I've got something here. But then you start uncovering it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets away from you, and suddenly it becomes its own thing, and
yeah.
then you kind of feel like you're you're basically the amanuensis or
Mhm,
of somebody telling you a story, or you're the you're almost become it's your boss now, and you're the employee, and you're trying to accomplish the goal that has been set before you. And once that happens, I honestly think there's a lot of writers right now that are buying $1 million properties that have never felt that in their entire lives. They've never felt that moment of discovery, that moment of creativity. To them, it's a way to get their screeds out to the public, or their
That's a
way to
fact.
get their philosophies established in the mainstream, or make a social change. And
Absolutely.
and the truth of the matter is the most change you're ever going to do in this world is by getting or telling a story, and maybe embedded in that story is message that comes from the story itself that you didn't put there, but it's there naturally. Like the hero's journey,
Hmm.
that runs through a lot of stories,
Yeah.
that young men have learned, have used, like the Odyssey, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
It's thousands. It's reason why it's existed for thousands of years is because that heroic journey has helped young men through generations and generations to learn things about uh, what it means to be a hero. What it means
Yeah.
to screw things up, but still show up when you need to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been telling this story for generations, and suddenly this thing comes out that has the name slapped on it,
Yeah.
and it has none of the heart and none of the qualities that has made it generational. And
Mm.
then, and people are recognizing that, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're a bigot, or you're this, that, and the other." But it's like, I'm sorry, but whatever that is, that's not the Odyssey. We know what the Odyssey is. We've read the Odyssey, or we've seen that good adaptations of the Odyssey. We know what's supposed to be in the Odyssey from its inception, and and this is that.
Mm.
And just because you slap the name on it doesn't mean it's that, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, you have this character. I've seen him in the trailers. I've read about him in your campaign, who's a stuntman,
Hmm.
and I was like, why don't we have more stuntman protagonists? I mean, these guys, they're part engineer, they're part mechanic, they're part you know martial artists. They're daredevils. Most of them have military training, so they probably know weaponry.
Right.
And it's like, what an incredible idea for a protagonist, as a stuntman. And they're all lousy. I mean, Hollywood's lousy with them. And
Yeah.
so the idea that this guy would be in the Southwest somewhere, run across a situation and get involved is such a brilliant, brilliant idea. But
Thank you.
also, he's that masculinity, he's that, that that aspirational thing about men, that
Hmm.
I can't walk away from a kid. I can't walk away from a woman, a damsel in distress. I can't walk away from a situation that I can intervene. And that's the best of mankind, best of men in particular. And they're trying to like remove that from the culture because they don't want men to intervene anymore.
Well, I'm really impressed that you saw that and caught that in what little is out there of it, because
Mm-hmm.
that was something really important to me to kind of represent,
Mm-hmm.
and not only in this story but in future stories of masculinity, of
Yeah.
being uh,
Well,
being.
I think you see the dearth of it in society, and you're trying to put it back. It's what a lot of us are trying to do right now with this
It is.
independent
I mean,
movement.
it comes down to the urge of just the concept of just being the change you want to see, and
Right.
representing that. And just because, there's been just kind of a long string of just watching our heroes die on screen, and a lot of things get emasculated.
Right.
Um, a lot of heroes get emasculated. A lot of things kind of just being intentionally attacked.
Right.
Um, it was important to me to do a story where, not to give any, I don't think it's giving too much away, but to kind of start in that world with this man who was who came from something he loved, and finds himself in a world that is kind of emasculating him, that is kind of taking him, uh, kind of taking him for granted, throwing him away, kind of thing. This just circumstantially,
Right.
situationally, and when he is, and then bringing to, I mean, and the cars, the being the stuntman, all kind of represented that, pulling from the 60s, the 70s of just muscle cars, and
Hemi Kudo with a six pack. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There you go.
and
I've
yeah,
seen one in person. Those things sound
oh,
great. They're
yeah.
incredible.
So I mean, in comics, we can crash a Hemikuda,
There you go.
we don't have to worry about having a double or anything like that. So, uh, but it was about pulling, um, representation of the masculine,
Yeah.
that inspired me, that I was kind of hungry for in seeing. You know,
Hmm.
where in indie comics we can make the book that we want to see,
There
and
you go. There
yeah,
you go.
so that's what I did.
Well, I mean, I have a heroic character, heroic patriotic character because, they made Captain America say Hell Hydra,
Yeah, I saw
and and something about that made like lit a fire under my butt, and I'm like, hell no, you know, you that is wrong. That is severely wrong, and I'm gonna do my part to put that back.
hmm
What little I can, I'm gonna, So Ironsides came from that.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but let me see. I constantly write and post comments on the internet. I'm super talented. That's not what we're talking about, but thank you for participating, Crow. Anyway. Skylight's a one shot, or will there be more someday, you think?
The book that I finished is a beginning, middle, and end.
Gotcha.
But yeah, but I can definitely tell more stories in the future from
Hmm.
that take place in the world. I'll leave it at that.
Speaking of emasculating things, speaking of cars, my pal, I think, saw an electric Ferrari last week. We nearly vomited.
Mm.
Electric Ferrari, yeah, there's something wrong with that. Ferrari should have a snarl, not a little whine. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking about emasculating things, and that's perfect. That's right there. What's your favorite genre of comics?
Oh, I think just, does it look cool, and does it tell a competent story that isn't, um seem like it was written by mentally ill person,
Yeah,
I think,
mentally ill
yeah.
baristas.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love westerns, I love sci-fi, I love the superhero stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not too much that I'm not going into comic stores these days and pulling off the new
Right,
new
right.
issues.
Yeah, I've browsed comic stores, and for the most part, I go through back issues. I don't even.
Yeah,
I look at the wall of what's latest, the latest, and just the wall makes me like, no, Yeah.
yeah.
It's like last time I was in a comic book shop, I saw Moon Knight was a female Moon Knight on the cover, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, that's what I mean.
no.
Like, we were talking before the show started a little bit, and I'm just like, for me personally, I had my teenage years of collecting comics with these
Right.
characters,
Yeah.
and so for me, I know a lot of people, 20s, uh, younger, that are finding characters today, and they're enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But for me, I've run the gamut with these characters, and it doesn't appeal to me anymore. It's like, I had that time. I knew what Gotham City was. I knew what Batman was, and all
Well,
that
if
stuff.
all of you ever had was a McDonald's, you think Mark McDonald's is gourmet,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
So,
that's the bad
right.
thing is, when people, I've watched these like reaction channels, and you see these
Mm.
people who've only listened to hip hop discover Iron Maiden or somebody like that, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Whoa!" It's like the first time they hear actual music, and they're like, "Whoa!" You know,
It's exciting and sad at the same time.
it's extremely sad. You know, but when they go down these rabbit holes and you know and like anytime they hear somebody's like hearing Under Pressure and they're like, I thought that was Vanilla Ice, and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, no, it's not a Vanilla Ice. But you know, but of course Vanilla Ice is like a classic now. I mean, compared to what they're putting out now. But the thing that I really love about independent, you know, comics is when you look at independent comics is what it has always been, and it's always been independent comics, guys. The like Bone has been around forever and
Hmm.
completely independent. Grendel has been around. It's independent. ElfQuest. I mean, Wendy Penny. She was her own thing. No publisher whatsoever. Our own Billy Tucci, you know, when he
Hmm.
put She out, completely
Hmm.
on his own. He was going to Comic Cons and he was selling that completely. Basically, he's making his own copies and selling them. Lest we forget, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Right.
completely independent. They basically mimeographed it and stapled it together and took it to cons. But it was
Yeah.
so awesome and so subversive to what people you know were seeing at that time that it became Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they had a movie of it
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
less than 10 years after they started walking around Comic Cons with it and
Yeah.
mimeographed copies. And
Yeah.
uh and the reason why is you look at it, it's violent, it's spastic, it's beautiful, and it's authentic, and
Hmm.
it's like pure, and that's what people are just desperate for. Somebody just, you know, like the whole Oliver Anthony thing a couple years ago when he did Rich Man North of Richmond. This guy's just in the backwoods with a mic singing about how, you know, Washington's screwing us all over, and we're like, oh, amen, brother, you know.
Right.
And we
Right.
made him a millionaire, you know, just from his authenticity, you know, and it's just like people are desperate to see something real. And with AI happening, people think AI is going to be the end of things, but it's going to be the end of things for the mainstream because they're going to get rid of all the, you know, idiocy that they've stuffed into their ranks by using it, but they're not going to have the creativity to use it properly. But independents are going to have the creativity, the ideas to use it properly. And so I think it's going to make independent sources even more powerful. Three movies that have been top the box office this year were made by YouTubers.
Mm.
Three movies, micro
Yeah.
budgets, topped the box office and made millions and millions of dollars of profit this year. Were made by YouTubers, uh, and they beat out $1 million properties. I mean, hundreds of $1 million movies with budgets that, you know, of small countries.
Hmm.
And the reason why is because when people saw it, they're like, "That's real. Whatever that is, that's real, and I'm going to support that." And
Yeah.
so this is the opportunity we're given right now. Uh, real music exists. Who knew? Obviously not. Other entertainment genres mainstream puts out good stuff in dribs and drabs now. Not like it. No, no. It used to. There was times in the early '90s and maybe early 2000 2010s where it was like good stuff everywhere, and then it just like went away so bad so quickly. If you could be the artist of a comic book from any time and period, what's the book and what's your art team if you're on the pencils? That's a good question.
Ooh. I I mean, I just think about the influences that I have and the landscape that they had in the 60s and 70s of commercial art and
Yeah.
the opportunities of just illustration everywhere,
Right.
illustration on magazines and covers. I mean, it was so rich, and just the yeah. So I don't know necessarily about a book, but a time period of being an artist in the '60s,
Mm-hmm.
um, just ripe with opportunity. Um, but again, I mean, we're in the time that we're in, and I
Would you say
think
like the first generation of Marvel uh,
mm,
when they were so ahead of everybody else and they're putting out, Hulk, they're putting out Doctor Strange, they're putting out Spider Man, they're putting out all these characters that became so iconic, but they were brand new at one point, and people were
right,
like, "I have never seen anything like this." A superhero that can't meet that can't pay for his apartment, that has to do work on the side just to make ends meet. Wow,
yeah,
what a cool idea! We have
yeah.
Batman with a bank account. I mean,
Yeah, as much as I love Batman, I don't know if I want to work on a book with him.
right,
I've
right,
always, I always like, I always thought like the Flash would be interesting to play uh,
yeah,
with time and playing with personality, character study
right.
of who, Barry Allen what would he be like with these powers and abilities, and how would that form his psychology and tendencies, and I I I I, I think that would be fun to play with.
I've always liked Wally West more than
Mm,
Barry Allen,
hmm.
and I think he just told better stories for Wally. But I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
no,
that's that
it's
that
totally.
that's got me canceled before. Anyway,
Hey,
I'm sorry,
like,
but
okay,
Terminal Velocity was just an
yeah.
incredible story.
I mean, just like, I'm not offended by other differing opinions or anything. I mean, it's like
You're
we
not really?
no,
Wow.
yeah,
There you
we
go.
should be
Holy
able
crap.
to, like, have their opinion and not derail our existence.
Those guys in the 60s and 70s were commercial art first. They knew how to make a deadline, the Jack
Mm,
Kirby, uh,
yeah.
all those guys. I did not read a lot of superhero comics back in the day, to be honest. Yeah, Joe, Transformers, Eagle Comics, and He-Man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's if you could be the artist for any writer, is there a writer that you would love to be the artist for to interpret?
Mm. I thought I I think Alan Grant really told some really great Batman stories
Right.
uh back in
He
the
could
day.
go
Really,
dark though.
really
Alan Grant could
inventive.
go
Yeah,
dark. He really could.
and just really, really skilled writer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe I would say I would like to pen something from him.
Cool. Awesome. That's a really great idea. Let me go ahead and play this trailer once again. Make sure that I always try to play it at least twice. But this is Skylights. It's available on Fun My Comic right now.
Yep.
Should be pinned in the description, and it's also should be in the chat. So check out this. I'm not gonna lie, that is one of the best trailers I have seen. I mean, you 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 did. I could definitely tell you have storyboarding experience just from the pacing, the the choice of shots or of the movement throughout the trailer. Um, I'm sure the music's probably yeah AI generated maybe or
No,
copyright free.
that is by really slow motion.
Ah,
They actually do movie trailers. I licensed it. I reached out to
oh,
them
cool.
and
Wow.
and it
Sounds a
was I
lot.
had a
That sounded like Tangerine Dream, a la maybe Blade Runner or somewhere around that period.
yeah,
A
right.
little
I mean,
bit.
I had a few that I was listening to while drawing the book and imagining what the trailer was going to be,
Hmm.
and uh they happened to get back to me, and I licensed the song and said it was for a
Cool.
comic trailer, and I'm going to be sharing it on social media. Is that okay? And yeah. So and it turned out it's so funny because the main guy that is of really slow motion lives like 20 minutes away. I had
Ah.
no idea, and it was just so funny
Wow.
that that was the one that got back to me. And on the invoice, he was just like, "Hey, you're like my neighbor."
That's rare. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but
Um,
they do incredible music. Just they have music on iTunes. They did I believe they did the Spider-Man trailer. Um,
wow.
yes, so
Yeah.
they do great work. Great work.
Well, one thing about really good trailer music is there's always a layer to it. It's not just one thing, Like through that there was like a smaller theme that was like running through it that
Hmm.
was running almost at a different tempo from the main theme that
Yeah,
kind of gave it its motion, kind of gave it its energy. But then you had like this massive, vast,
yeah,
thing over top of it that kind of like you had the desperation story underneath,
right.
and then you have this vast panorama of these gigantic spaceships, and the
Yeah.
size of that, and it was
It
all like represented in the trailer. And this is an art form that people have lost. There's very few people anymore that can do something like that. Maybe count
well,
them on
I
one
mean,
hand.
it I mean that's the thing is like it's hard to do a book, it's hard to do comics, but um uh we can do the best that we can at the time that we're working on it,
Yeah,
and do try to match what we want, you know, what
right.
we want with the project.
Well, one thing, it's like when I did this right here.
It's cool to see.
Yeah, but the secret to like adapting something using AI as the tool is you're still a storyteller, and so
Mhm.
you gotta adjust the AI to tell the story that you want, and
Yeah.
uh, and so that took me like multiple times
Mhm.
generating before I was like, that's it,
Yeah.
that's the energy, that's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah,
Um,
it does capture the energy of the characters, and in
yep,
the book the story covers the found family.
right,
They're
right,
strangers, and not so much at odds, but just, indifferent to each other,
yeah.
and wanting to continue on with their own situations, and how does that pull them in when they're
Well, my,
butting
my favorite
heads?
stories are the ones where people can just get thrown together and they form a matrix to survive, and it becomes something deeper than family. It becomes something deeper than you're that in that like moment of time where they're relying on each other for their very existence.
Yeah.
Um, there's a depth to that thrown together thing, you know,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
it's like they talk about all the time, army guys or people in military, these World War II veterans that stayed like buddies and would die for each other all the way into their 80s, and they were thrown together through this draft, and you know, forced to like be together in a dangerous situation, and yet they're friends for life. They would cover each other's backs for life, and there's something about the ability to form bonds like that that is unique um, to like fight or flight moments,
Hmm.
where you'll see this happen when somebody intervenes on somebody else's behalf, in a situation, like the gunman on the train in France, where all the soldiers, you know, uh,
Yeah.
risk their lives to save those people on the train.
Yeah.
Um, and and it's just like uh, that shared humanity we have that just comes out during times like that. When people are asked to go further than they thought they could go, do incredible things beyond what they thought they could do, and you know, and you go back later and you look at some of the things like Audie Murphy standing on a flaming tank destroyer, firing at Germans and calling in airstrikes, or um, on his position, I mean,
Right.
and then he runs out of ammo, walks away from the tank destroyer to get back to his men, and the thing blows up behind him. And it's like,
Yeah.
that sounds like a Hollywood movie, but this actually happened. There's eyewitness accounts. It's in the Library of Congress what this guy did. 50
Amazing.
Germans by himself, 50 caliber machine gun on a flaming tank destroyer. Walks away like a John Wick, and the thing
Yeah.
blows up behind him. And he just got, come on, guys. I softened them up. Let's go push him back. And his men are like,
Right.
we're going to run through hell for you, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But, but things like that actually happen, that uh, people just find that gear in themselves that they didn't know they had. And those are the best stories. Those are the stories that we love, you
They're
know?
the most inspiring. I mean, the world has so much like inspiration from real
Mm-hmm.
life. Um, I I don't really get inspired by stuff that I like fiction and comics, other comics, and this was inspired by um like daydreaming, by thinking about
Right.
like what an adventure would be
It might
that.
have a little X Files in it, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit Independence
Sure.
Day, you know?
Uh, Not so much Independence Day,
Okay.
but X-Files I can concede to, but
Hmm.
um, the in the sense of just being inspired by the real mysteries of life
Right.
and um,
Maybe a little Fire in the Sky, you know?
mm, what a great scene in that film.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I recognize the the person floating in the
that
tractor
pan
beam, you know?
that panel is not what you think. That panel
Oh,
is in the
okay.
comic. That cover is in the comic.
Ah, right. Right. Yeah.
But it's not
I
what
was
you
like
think.
a little bit Travis
It's a
Walker
turning
floating
point in the story, and I think it's actually when I was drawing the panel, and
there.
I thought maybe this could be a cover, and when it came time to do the cover, it definitely.
Oh,
Uh,
it's very powerful image.
thank you.
Three Steps from Hell and Audio Machine do pretty good tunes. I think they do
Yes, they
trailers.
do.
Yep,
Yes,
yep. Are available for commission or sequential work.
not at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Is just finishing Skylights is my number one priority, and then taking whatever work comes in, professional work comes in, I have to take and uh, keep keep some money coming in. But just finishing Skylights at the moment, and making sure that I deliver to everybody is really important to me.
Are you
Um,
allowed to say what you've been worked on in the mainstream?
yeah, I've
Okay.
worked on a lot of stuff. I've storyboarded since 2014. I've done I've worked on Perry Mason show. I've done a lot of stuff for Marvel, and not Marvel movies, but more like Marvel. I've done if you've been to Disneyland, I've worked on Mission Breakout.
Mm-hmm.
I worked the ride, the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Did some rocket stuff, which was cool. Opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to draw some pitches for Brave New World that didn't happen, but
Obviously
got to
not.
draw Red Hulk and
Oh, I love Red Hulk.
Falcon. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that was cool to draw. I've done yeah, I mean, music videos, tons of commercials, lots of properties, HBO, Disney,
Well,
A24.
I
I
only
mean,
say that
it's,
because I run into so many people who are kind of like chewed up and spit out by the mainstream, and they're so
yes.
NDA that they can't even tell you what they worked on. You know,
Well, I mean, the NDA, once the stuff comes out, you can pretty much talk about it. You could tell what you've done. Uh,
unless you're ghost writing or ghost, doing something for somebody else.
yeah, but
Then
even then, it's like you could, I mean, who's gonna know?
there
You
you
know?
go. There you go. Well, I mean, yeah, this book, it's obviously, it's got a lot of energy. It's got a lot of love. It's got um, a lot of masculinity in it, which is going to be appealing. Because I mean, yeah, they couldn't even put Blade out, man. They couldn't even put a Blade out
I
because they
know.
kept trying to cuck him, and Mashallah Ali was like, no, no, he had right of first refusal, and he's like, I am not gonna do that, and yet they never would give him a pitch that was Blade being a badass. They kept trying to cuck him out to some females or something like that, and he
Yeah,
was like, no,
it's just,
I'm not gonna do it. It's a vampire hunter,
yeah,
a badass vampire hunter with leather and samurai swords and the badass muscle car. How can you not do a movie that's a badass vampire hunter?
right.
Because they're so determined that they're going to subvert him. They're so determined they're going to emasculate him. And if they had somebody, like Anthony Mackie, who was going to do whatever they told him to do, they would have put out this complete character deconstruction of Blade, and so my hats off to him for putting his foot down, but
Yeah, for sure.
that's so illustrative of what's wrong with the mainstream now,
Hmm.
and that they're so determined that no masculinity is going to make it through into these properties that they were willing to destroy whatever it is. And it's like, what are we doing here? There's a reason why these stories appeal, and they have appealed for generations. It's because young men have to figure out how to become men. That's not something that comes natural. They have to see it modeled, and they have to find it in themselves to become men. And these stories have helped them do this for time immemorial. That's what all these stories are for. That's what the story of Beowulf is for. That's what the Odyssey was for. That's what these biblical tales are for. Is
Yeah.
This is what a man is supposed to look like, and this is what a man is not supposed to be. And
Mhm.
take the cautionary tale of this, take the aspirational tale of this, and then become a man. And
Yeah.
it's like, why are there so many Gen Zs that don't know how to be men? This is why they lost the stories. They were going to show them how. You know,
Yeah.
that's why a lot of us Gen X and Zennials are all feel like we're taking crazy pills when we deal with these kids. It's like,
Yeah, it's
This is what a
gaslighting.
man looks like. This is what a man does. This is how he takes care of himself. This is how he takes care of his responsibilities. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
because it's gone from the culture and it's got to come from somewhere. And independent's the only people that are doing it right now. They're on the game in
Well,
town.
it should be a lesson to everyone that wants to tell a story is these are corporate owned characters and they can do what they want with them. So what was once mythology is theirs to break down and
Right.
dissect and dismantle however they choose. And the opportunity that we have right now is to create new things and
Mm-hmm.
new characters in any genre that you want to, what inspires you. We don't have the limitations of just doing superhero stuff. Even if you, I mean, yeah, you're free to do it if you want to do a superhero, but we free, every genre is open to us. And you can tell a meaningful story in a cartoon story, a
Mm-hmm.
comedy, a romance, a western, a sci-fi, just adventure. Like Skylights is sci-fi adventure, I call it. So I mean, everything is open to us right here in indie comics, and we need to. I would say it's vital
Mm-hmm.
to our industry, to our culture, that we create new things. We need to make new stuff that endures from on. I mean, Batman's doing fine without me. Batman's doing
Right.
like all these characters. They've been around for 50 years. They'll be around for another 100, and but we need to make new stuff. And you don't know what the next thing that is going to rise up and capture the zeitgeist and be the thing. It could be your project. It
Right.
could be anyone's if it registers enough. And that should incentivize everyone to 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 tell honest stories, to be truthful with their work and not not pull back.
Right.
Go go if you think it's not going to sell right, just do it, because
Yeah.
if it's in your gut and it won't leave you, do it.
Well, yeah, it's like I was reflecting on the movie once. You know that movie?
Mm,
Well, the guy who was in that movie, Glenn Hansard, passed away. Had a motorcycle accident the other day. But this
mm,
movie was made on a shoestring budget in and around Dublin. It was about
mm,
the busker community, and it's about this love story that came up from a guy who meets this girl seemingly at random, and they wind up changing each other's life. But then the relationship was like a transient thing. But it was
yeah,
done on a shoestring budget, and it was done. The guy who starred in it never started anything in his life. He was in the Commitments movie, but you know, because nobody could sing the songs that he created for the movie, it's like I guess you got to be in it because you the only one can sing those songs.
mm,
But that they just meant it. They just made it for the art of it. They just made
mhm,
it to the art for the sake of art, and it resonated with the other day when the man passed, the man had his funeral. There's the luminaries were there.
yeah,
The who's who of like of like I think one of the people that sang at his funeral was the lead singer for Pearl Jam. I forgot his name, but so we're not talking about but this was a guy who made an impact on the world because he made art for the sake of art. They didn't
yeah,
expect it to be big. They didn't expect it to resonate. They just made it because it was a good story and they wanted to tell the story. But because it was pure and because it was art for the sake of art, it resonated with people. And
yeah,
so, uh, when I did my little show on them, I was like, just make art.
yeah.
Don't worry about if somebody's going to see it. Don't worry about if it's going to resonate or if it's going to make you rich or make you famous.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, the people who become famous a lot of times they never anticipated becoming famous,
Right.
you know. But something they did just as a throwaway that they didn't even expect to resonate with people took off. And but
Yeah.
you
In
can't
the
plan that. You just make art for the sake of art, you know.
I when I during the course of making Skylights, I put up on a post-it over my desk and I said, fail every day. Fail every day. And
Mm,
when you get past the idea of like, what if I fail? So what? And you
right,
learn. If you learn from your failure or what you don't get right, um, that's not a failure. You're learning from that and you continue on. And you
mm,
it's about collecting experience. It's about, you know, you're not gonna be you're not gonna be as good as you will 10 years from now today, right?
right,
So and so many stories don't get told because um oh I there's a this story that's out there that's similar to mine or that story
yeah,
that's similar to mine. And you have to listen. If there's a story that came to you, no one else can tell that story.
right,
It's going, like we talked about it a little bit earlier, it's going to filter through you. It's going to filter through your experience, your knowledge, what you've been through, what you've
mm,
lived, your taste, your your instinct is going to filter through that. And that's not going to be something. So be true to that. Be true to that story, and that won't leave you alone, that you just have
well,
to
I mean,
tell.
imagine if Sergio Leone said, well, there's too many Western stories out there, you know,
Imagine. Imagine that.
and you know, well, why should I do it? Why should I add to it?
Right.
We
Exactly.
wouldn't have the spaghetti westerns. We wouldn't have the Clint Eastwood wouldn't be the star he was. So
Yeah.
tell your story, take your shot, right?
Take your
Uh,
shot. Yeah.
when do you plan on fulfilling?
October, November is what I'm aiming for.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm editing, I'm going through all the pages, doing art quality checks,
Hmm.
color checks, just editing all the art, and then I'll be picking up lettering and yeah, I'm already in talk with a printer and I'll be picking what paper, size of the book, interior cover, all that stuff. So exciting. Um,
Awesome.
glad to finally be at this point.
I can't
It
imagine having my comic in my hand for the first time. It'll probably, I mean, just with all
just
that's gone into it, yeah.
yeah, just biting my tongue and really holding back for the length of time without
Yeah.
releasing single issues or even just half graphic novels is just like
Right.
really,
Right.
really hard to do. It was really hard to do.
Gotcha. I think this would be a good last word. Old school superhero content will endure, and modern trash will be forgotten. I agree with that. Anyway, so thank you for coming on, Keith.
Oh, thank you for doing this. I really
No
appreciate it. And
problem.
it was so nice to like have the conversation that we had with together
Hmm.
and meet you. It was awesome.
Yeah, feel free to repost this. Feel free to use this
Definitely.
material any way you want to. The AI that I developed for this, I'll send you those files if you want to use it for
Okay.
your own. I mean, it's going to sit there either way. I've always tried to give the people who I develop it for their chance to use it, opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So
It's really cool to see, despite what people feel about AI
right,
this way or that way. It's just like it's
it's
cool to
just a
see.
tool.
Yeah, it's
It's
just cool to see.
the mainstream's gonna just absolutely lean on it so much, and that it's gonna like water down their stuff, and it's just gonna make it worse for them.
Well, the
But
studios are going to chase what makes money, and if the audiences want whatever they want,
right,
um, they that's where they will go. And ultimately, box office and money will decide. We're
yeah,
probably looking at a hybrid of everything. I think there's
oh yeah,
room for
oh
everything.
yeah, we're already seeing that. We're already seeing it.
Yeah,
And so just don't walk away from the tools that we have available to us.
right.
Just because you don't want people to get butt hurt, because people could
Yeah,
get
yeah.
butt hurt anyway. no matter
Oh,
what you
no
do.
matter what you do,
No matter
no
what you
matter
do,
what you
son.
do. Yeah.
That's just his way. That's the nature of the beast. Anyway,
Yeah, you just gotta dismiss it and move on.
yep. Just do what you do and let the chips fall where they may. Anyway, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Thursday, I'm gonna be on John's Long Box. We're gonna talk about the Christmas special, Heroic Tales Christmas special. So stay tuned to that. But anyway, you got any announcements or any other places you're gonna be on the shows or anything like that?
Yeah, I believe I'm doing on the 13th or 15th. I'll post about it on my X account.
Okay.
Bootlegger. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going on, gonna have a conversation with him on his
Yeah.
channel. Yeah, that's it so far.
Oh, that's a good show. I love those guys over there. They have a good
Awesome.
time. Anyway, all right. Anyway, y'all have a good afternoon. We'll talk to you later. Yeah. Bye, everybody.